What is going on, everybody? Today we're going to be working on a lot of different shoes. These are some of the most rare sneakers that I've ever seen. I've never seen these online or in person. A lot of these companies back in the 80s and 90s used to make shoes for their employees. For example, over here we got some shoes for Pizza Hut employees. We got Budweiser, the beer company. Over here we got ExxonMobil, Plymouth, the car company that's out of business, classic Hooters, Dairy Queen, the ice cream company. Even the NBA had their own shoes back in the 70s. And the rarest sneakers out of the entire collection's gotta be these Microsoft Adidas. In the past, I've talked to you guys about the shoes that Apple created for their employees. Well, these are much more rare than those. We got a lot of work ahead of us, so let's get started. All of these shoes belong to a private collector. In the past, I've worked on a lot of his pairs, but he still has more stuff to send me my way, but we just gotta knock this stuff out first. In the past, I've worked on some of his other employees' shoes, such as Pepsi, Coca-Cola, and even Burger King. Back then, it wasn't uncommon for companies to make shoes for their employees. Nowadays, you really don't see that. Some of these shoes though, such as these Microsoft Adidas, can go for thousands. And some of these other shoes, for example these Plymouths, are more just for fun. They won't really go for too much money, it's just a cool piece. Regardless, all of these shoes need work, some more than others. We're gonna start off with the easy stuff by taking out the laces and insoles if possible. Jesus, I can't even. Forward to lacing all these shoes back up. We get the shoelaces out. Some of these are really dirty and others have aged poorly. So to bring them back to life, we got our big bowl of warm water. We're gonna be mixing it up with some solution and detergent. So the plan here is to mix everything up in the bowl, let it sit for a few days, let it marinate, break down all the grime and dirt inside these laces. We're also gonna put it inside the Vick 2000 to let the UV rays do its magic. While the laces sit in the indoor setup, we're gonna get back to the shoes. We're gonna head over to Many Rolls and use their air compressor. Theirs is a lot better than mine. Mine's is on the weak side. We have a lot of shoes to take care of. So first, we're gonna blow off any surface dust and debris from the inside and out before we start cleaning up the shoes. Let's head over there now. Got about 30 years worth of dust out of the shoes. It's a start, but we still have a lot of work to go. In front of me, we got 16 shoe trees. We're gonna put them inside the sneakers to give it a better shape. But before we do that, some of these sneakers have a lot of lint, but with the lint shaver, we're gonna clean it all up. Now that's a big difference. Let's keep it going. All the lint's out, now let's put the shoe trees inside our sneakers. Shoe trees are inside, we hit the sock liners with the lint shaver, now we're on to the cleaning. Today we're going to be using our essential shoe cleaning kit on all the different shoes. Some of these are lightly worn, some of these are brand new, but they still have some blemishes all around the sneakers. So we're going to be using our soft bristle brush, medium bristle brush, and our brass bristle. We're also going to be using our sneaker wipes and compressor for all these cleanings. We're going to start with my favorite from the bunch, the Pizza Hut. These are probably the only sneakers that I would actually wear. To start, we're going to squirt some solution into our bowl of water and start with the soft bristle brush to start breaking down the small grime on the uppers. All done with the soft bristle brush, I stayed away from brushing on the tongue because the tongue has like a vinyl-like material. If I scrub too hard, it's gonna flake off. Now we're on to the medium bristle brush. For this brush, we're gonna hit it on the rubber sole. So far so good, these were easy. Now on to the Dairy Queens. Same exact thing, we're gonna hit it first with the soft bristle brush.
All done with the soft bristle brush. Once again, I avoided the tongues to avoid any of the peeling of the vinyl. Now for the medium bristle brush, we're gonna use that for the midsoles. The midsoles aren't really that dirty, so we don't need to scrub that hard. Dairy Queens are looking good. Now we're on to the mobile ones. For these, same exact thing. Soft bristle brush on the uppers, but for these, the midsoles are really dingy, so we might have to use the brass bristle brush. Soft bristle brush and medium bristle brush did its job. Now we're gonna move on to the brass bristle brush to finish removing the grime all around the edges of the outsole. Three pairs are down. Now for the next few pairs, they're gonna be pretty easy. We're just gonna hit them with the soft bristle brush. So far so good with these cleanings. It's been pretty easy so far. All we've done is wipe off a lot of the age. Some of these shoes do have some tiny scuffs, nothing too noticeable. Sometimes the brushes don't really wipe it off. So for this, we're gonna grab our sneaker wipes. We're gonna go back and hit up all the leather and the rubber. Again, it's nothing too crazy. I just see some marks here and there. We're gonna do that with all the shoes. We still gotta go back and do one more cleaning, but that's the toughest one, so we'll save that for later. One more pair we gotta do before we move on to the Microsofts, the Hooters. Let's finish it off with these wipes. So for this part, the wipes aren't doing too much for this specific piece. So you can see the grime is on there real good. So for this next part, we're gonna be using some alcohol prep pads. Hopefully that wipes it off, but we gotta be very careful and not wipe off the paint. So these wipes aren't doing much either. Next step, acetone. We gotta be even more careful with this stuff because it can wipe off the paint fully. Let's use some cotton balls. Seven of the 8 cleanings are complete. So far it's been pretty easy, but now we're on to the toughest of them yet, the Microsofts. These are really dirty. The mesh has stains all around. Same thing with the soles. It's been discolored. These have been worn heavily. I gotta be very careful with these because I don't wanna wash off the Microsoft, nor do I wanna create more damage. So the first step for this cleaning, we're gonna grab our pick and clean up all the rocks, dirt, and grime from these Stan Smith looking soles. To start the cleaning on these Microsofts, we'll be using the brass bristle brush on these soles and midsoles. That's by far the dirtiest part of the shoe, so we're gonna scrub until these soles are as clean as possible. That's the power of the brass bristle brush. We still have some yellowing, but that'll come out in the Vick 2000. Soles look great. That's only half of this cleaning. Now we're on to the uppers. The uppers are pretty bad. We got some fresh water. We're gonna squeeze some more solution into it, and we're only gonna be focusing on the soft bristle brush. At first, I'm gonna be gentle, specifically on the Microsoft area. I don't wanna brush it away. If I see that it's on there good, I'll brush a little bit harder. All the cleanings are complete. This one specifically took forever, but these look so much better than before. The soles are good to go, insides, the leather. There are a couple of stains, however, specifically on the toe box on the side that didn't fully come out. It looks worse right now because they're really wet, but I'm hoping once they fully dry and they sit under the Vick 2000 for several hours, these will look a lot better. These gotta sit first for several hours next to a fan so they can fully air dry. The rest of the shoes are good to go. We're gonna put these in the Vick 2000 for a good 2 to 3 days so it can remove all the yellowing. To keep things moving, I went ahead and pulled the Plymouth out of the Vick 2000. Once I'm done with this step, I'll put them back in to finish removing the yellowing. As you can see on all 3 panels of the shoes, they used a horrible material that didn't age very well. It's cracking all around, it's flaky. The material they might have used is Durabuck. That material is notorious for cracking over time, or the same material they used on the collars of the 85 Jordan 1s. It's cracking the exact same way, and on the bottom it has that cloth-like material. So there's 2 different options I can do with this restoration. I can either go in and paint over it, but that's not gonna look very well. Plus, this stuff is still gonna continue to crack, so it's gonna come right off. Or I could go in and peel it all off and have this type of look. So I went ahead and talked to the client. We're both in agreement that this is the better option. I don't want to go in and paint over this cloth-like material because A, it's going to take a lot of coats to lay down that white solid, and B, it's not going to look nowhere near factory. So instead of having this flaky material, we're going to go with this option. To remove all this junk, we're going to be using some tape, some brushes, and the compressor. We're going to start off by using the tape. We're going to tape right on it and peel all the stuff off. Plymouth sneakers are good to go. We got all that old paint off. As is, these look way better than if I would have tried to repaint these. We're gonna put these to the side and put them back in the Vick 2000. Next pair we gotta work on is the NBA sneakers. We already went ahead and taped them off. As you can see on the exposed areas, we have some red dye and some purple dye. We're gonna go in and lay down some white to cover all that up. But real quick, first, we're gonna grab some alcohol prep pads and give it a quick prep job. NBA sneakers are good to go. This paint job looks flawless. That's thanks to the perfect tape job. These are gonna go back in the Vick 2000. While those cook, we're gonna work on the Budweiser sneakers. These are also already taped up. These Budweiser shoes are very similar to the Plymouth sneakers. For example, the material in the toe boxes are very similar. It's starting to flake as well, but it's not as bad. On one of them, it's perfect. On this one, it's kind of brown. So on this one, we're gonna go in and touch it up with the airbrush. On this panel over here, the paint's completely gone. I went in and peeled it off. Again, it was really flaky on this one. On this one, it looks really good. So we're just gonna go in and paint it. For this part though, we are gonna be using white paint mixed with a little bit of brown, because as you can see, it's not fully white. We've made some good progress. We're done with the Budweisers. Now we're on to one of my favorite pairs, the Hooters. Same thing with these. The leather on the toe box has completely flaked and cracked. Overall, these shoes are in good condition, but for this part, we gotta do some prep work. First, we're gonna grab some sandpaper and sand it down with 400 grit, work our way up to 600 grit, and finish off at 800 grit. On this left shoe, I already went ahead and did that process. It's nice and smooth and ready for paint. Now we gotta do the same thing for the right shoe. Prep is complete, now we're on to the paint job. For this step, we'll be using Angelus. I went ahead and mixed some vanilla and mist with the white as well as duller to get a nice off-white tone. The duller to remove all the shine. For this step, I'll be using a small angular brush. I'm gonna avoid all the stitching and the leather cut to keep this paint job nice and clean. I'm also not trying to make this paint job perfect. As you can see in these areas, there's a lot of cracking going on. I am gonna go in and touch up, just not make it perfect so everything flows with the rest of the shoe. All done with the Hooters, the paint job came out crispy. On to the last steps. We got the shoelaces out of the Vick 2000 and these laces look brand new, you guys. We wiped off all the age, all the grime. The last step we gotta do before we lace these shoes up, we're gonna hit them with the iron. Some of these are pretty wrinkled up, especially the Hooters or the Microsofts. So real quick, we're gonna get them nice and flat.
Alright guys, that is gonna bring us to an end on this big restoration. I've never worked on any of these shoes before or seen them in person, so this was a lot of fun. Over the last few days, I put in a lot of work on all these different shoes, and I've noticed some really cool similarities and details. For example, if you grab the Pizza Huts, the Dairy Queens, the Plymouths, and the Budweisers. Off the rip, one of the things I noticed between all 4 shoes is the plastic lace holders. On all 4 pairs, they have the exact same ones, so that's an indication right there to me that these shoes were all made in the same factory. One of them's Budweiser, Dairy Queen, Plymouth, and Pizza Hut, all very different companies, but they might have been made in the same factory. If you look at the sole on the Budweisers, same exact thing as the Dairy Queens. Toe boxes are very similar, even these back panels. Same material on the back, top piece. Pretty similar, but not the same shoe. On the Plymouth, same thing as the Pizza Hut. Same materials, similar sock liners. On the back of the tongue tags, it says customized logo, athletic shoes are made of quality, leather uppers and rubber outsoles for maximum comfort and durability. Plymouth says the exact same thing. Dairy Queen has nothing on the back. Budweiser say the same thing. One last thing I want to talk about is the Pizza Huts before I put them away. They're very similar to the Plymouth, Dairy Queen, and Budweisers, but this specific pair has a unique element. On this back piece, they added this see-through transparent plastic piece that goes right behind the panel. I like it, it makes it unique overall. And like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this is by far my favorite shoe. I just love the overall shape. You can tell it's a comfy shoe, and I do like the Pizza Hut logo. Moving on to the mobile ones, this is by far the ugliest shoe of the bunch. It has an awful shape, it's pretty basic. It has some cool details, like for example, you got the mobile logos on the side and back, but that's about it on the uppers. What makes this shoe really cool is that they gave them a custom outsole. On the bottom, it has Mobile 1. It's mirrored right now, but when you step on dirt, you'll be able to read Mobile 1. That's pretty cool in my opinion. My guess on this shoe is they put all their creative juices onto the outsole and budget. It's a cool outsole, but the uppers, they put no work into it. Still a cool shoe. On to the NBA sneakers. Again, I had no idea the NBA had their own shoes back in the day. I'm not sure why they stopped making this shoe. It's made of great quality. It was made in Italy, and the leather on the shoe is buttery soft. On the back, you got the classic NBA logo, same thing on the side, and on the tongue tag. One other shoe that I worked on off camera was another pair of NBA sneakers. These look like Adidas. Both pairs actually do. The only difference is there's a 4th stripe. Maybe that's why they stopped making these shoes. On this shoe though, there really isn't any NBA branding. There's nothing on the tongue, nothing on the insole, nothing on the back. However, on the outsole, it does say NBA. And moving on to the Hooters, these came out really clean. These were really beat. This is by far the worst pair in the bunch. The toe boxes was heavily cracking, the leather was peeling, the laces were so yellow, the shape was bad, but after a little cleaning, these look great. I'm pretty sure this specific shoe belonged to an employee of Hooters back in the 90s or early 2000s. What the shoe looks like to me though is a Reebok. All around it just has that shape. It might have been made in a Reebok factory, who knows. And lastly, this by far is the biggest day and night restoration from this bunch, the Microsofts. This shoe was really beat, and it was the shoe I was most excited for. It's rare, I've never seen it, never heard of it. If you go on Google and type in Adidas Microsoft, you will not find this shoe. These will go up for auction, but who knows what they'll go for. Overall, I'm just really happy that I was able to get some clean results. The midsole was gray, the uppers were gray, yellow, brown. Same thing with the laces. This is as clean as this shoe is gonna get. I'm excited about this specific pair, you guys. All in all, this was a fun, unique project. It was awesome to work on shoes that I'd never worked on before. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other shoes out there from other companies from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s that have their own employee shoes. Keep a lookout for those. You can find all the products at reshoeminator.com that I use to clean up these shoes. Use my promo code down below to save some money. This is Vick Almighty. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll catch you guys next Monday. See y'all.